because it is so fresh and also really simple to prepare. What really takes time is just the bubbling on the stove and a little bit of chopping beforehand. But it's a lot of fun, and it can be made in advance, which is really nice if you have a lot of company and you want to get some things done early. And it's as I said, very fresh tasting. Even in the winter, because you can use frozen peas that you thaw, and it still has that very fresh vegetable taste. So for those of you, if anyone did not get the memo beforehand and soak their peas for an hour, do not despair. It just means it'll take a little more cooking time. So don't worry about that. Just act as if you can skip that step and move forward. So I am going to start by pouring in my oil. I actually poured in a little already, but I'm going to pour in a little more because there is a lot of onions here for us to saute. So you can start with that. And do we, Deb, should we go around and make introductions and have everyone say who they are? And it would be kind of nice to see who's on, old and new. So I'm Carol Weil. I have been part of KindWorks since its predecessor, Mover Moms, was founded, and I love this group. It just is such a feel-good organization, and I love everything that I've ever done that is associated with it. So thank you, Deb. Next, let's see, I see.
People know me, but I'll just go around and everyone can pop in at their leisure. I'm Deb, and I'm the Executive Director of KindWorks. And I am always thrilled to spend time with you ladies in the kitchen. And sometimes we have men show up. That's fun too, but I think not today. Who wants to say hi next?
I'm going to say hi. I'm Marjorie Klein, and I've been cooking since the beginning, I guess, on this project, and I think it's great. If anyone needs soup delivered to Black Rock, to Up County Hub tomorrow, just let me know in the chat, and you can drop it off at my house if it's frozen. And if it's not frozen, I'll put it in my freezer and I'll deliver it next week, because I go every week to Up County. I also, on the second and fourth Sundays of every month, lead a soup session, and we cook this soup session. Har Shalom cooked this soup back in April. So I've done this soup before. It's a great soup. I agree, Carol. It's just delicious. My only question is, I'm working for my recipe, my version of the recipe, but I'm increasing to your volume. How many potatoes am I supposed to be putting in?
Good question. The answer is it depends on the size of your potatoes. I have the very little gold ones that are like this. I don't know if you can see, they're little. So I am putting in more than 9, I tripled the recipe, and the recipe called for 3. I'm putting in like 12. I'm basically just using the whole package. But I think anything between 9 and 12, if you have the larger ones, then 9 would be plenty.
I doubled the recipe when we did it for Har Shalom, and that's why I know how much it makes. So I'm willing to triple the recipe this time. So okay. I will put in, I don't know, 10, 11. I've lost track of how many I've washed already.
It's like so many of these recipes, it'll be very forgiving. If you add more potato, it'll be thicker and sort of creamier, I think. And if you add less, you'll get more of that pea flavor coming through. So either way, it'll be delicious.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see, Kelly. I'm just calling out names that I see. Do you want to say hi?
Hello, how are you? Hi, everybody. I was just telling Deb earlier, Carol, that I'm so excited to make this because I love split pea soup. And the only recipe I have is a split pea with curry that I really like. But Ina Garten is my idol, so anything she makes is much better than anything I ever even begin to think about making. So I'm happy that really excited to make this.
Oh, I'm so glad. She's one of my idols too. I've been collecting her cookbooks since like before there were recipes on the internet.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
She's amazing.
Oops, that's best.
I'm sizzling here. If your oil is hot, by the way, folks, you can add your onion and garlic if it's chopped. And otherwise, I'll keep moving along here. Cheryl, Israel Block.
Sorry, I had chopped everything, but then forgot to start boiling or heating my oil. I'm Cheryl Israel Block, and I am KindWorks. I'm on the board and the food security chair. And I've actually been helping with KindWorks and Mover Moms way back when our kids were little. Anyway, I actually earlier today was trying to figure out how many cups a pound of split peas were, and I Googled it with Ina Garten, and I found this 3-minute YouTube of her teaching us how to make this soup. And it was fabulous, but not as fabulous as Carol's going to do. But it was pretty interesting because I had a packet that said 16 ounces. Duh. You know, it was, there you go. That's 2 cups. Anyway, I'm chopping away and ready to go.
Yeah, well, I think I should turn the floor to you. If you watched Ina Garten's video, you know a lot more than I do. So.
No, I mean, it was basically, you know, what we're going to do. So.
Okay, well, feel free to jump in if I do anything that was contrary to her wisdom. Okay, let's see. Terry Sirota?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. I actually already started cooking this soup because I read the recipe and realized it was going to be hours before it was done. So I am now on the last 15 minutes of my first 40-minute cook. I doubled the recipe. I'll have lots of soup, but my family's hungry and won't want to wait 2 hours. And I started making soup with KindWorks because I heard a presentation. I'm a member of the 100 Women Who Care of Montgomery County, and heard a wonderful presentation and said, this sounds, I mean, and I hear from a lot of charities and, you know, over the years, and this just sounded like it was right up my alley for volunteering. So I'm delighted to join this.
That's terrific. We're glad you're joining us too. So one trick, Terry, and I don't know if you already know this one, but I learned it the hard way over the past year, is when you add your broth and it's already piping hot, it really cuts down on the cooking time. When you add broth,
Oh, that's a really good point.
Yeah, so today, since it's like 24 cups of broth, I have a separate pot right now heating of my broth, and it won't take nearly as long.
Perfect.
Great. Okay. Let's see. Hannah's iPad. I guess that's Hannah.
Hi, I'm here in New York on the Upper West Side. I've been enjoying these Monday sessions when I can. It's a lot of fun to see people down there working hard and doing good things. And I feel at this time it's nice to be able to make some gesture, however small, to better the lives of some people. I take my soups to a public housing project about 30 blocks north of me. I take them on the bus and drop them off in a fridge called a community fridge, and then come home. I never see anybody there, no notes, no leftovers. So I assume that they've been welcomed and consumed in the interim time that I've been there.
That's so lovely. It reminds me of Elijah in the Passover story, you know, that somebody's there and we don't really know who, but a kind angel. Okay, Joyce Martin.
Okay, hi. Well, it's been almost a year. Through my exercise class, I guess it was Cheryl or maybe it was Karen who sent out the notice last November. It could be maybe next Monday, our anniversary. It's been a lot of fun, and I got a college friend, Hannah, who you just met up in New York, to participate. And Deb, I'm going to Minnesota this weekend. Any KindWorks going on in Minneapolis?
Let's get some going, right? Will you be there next Monday?
Yeah, yes.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay. That'll be fun. Thanks, Joyce.
Okay.
Okay, and moving on, Denise, KindWorks president.
Hey guys, yeah, I'm the board chair for KindWorks, and it's good to see everybody here. Just want to say thanks to Carol for leading us today. And I hope y'all enjoy it. We've been doing KindWorks or KindSoups now since the very depths of COVID, like a lot of you. So it's great to see it continue. I have fun today.
Thanks, Denise. And Lisa Norris.
Hi there. Sorry, I was muted. Lisa Gapanaris here in Cabin John. Carol's daughter and my son went to preschool together and then elementary through high school. I'm a novice, a newbie. I've been cooking since August. Thanks.
And we love how Lisa just threw herself into all things KindWorks. She's gotten involved with multiple different cooking projects and furnishing home projects, and it's been amazing to watch her kind flourish.
Amazing. We did a home setup for an Afghan family of 8 and a baby on the way, almost 9, last week. And Lisa was like, she was incredible. She made this little yellow and white bathroom just sparkle like it was so beautiful. All the little touches you did to make it great. And everything else you did there.
Okay, and we have Susan and then Alexa. So for Susan.
Hi, I'm Susan Chris, and I just started, I'm also a novice. I just started in August doing the KindSoups and also doing some volunteering at county with the food pantry. I'm really enjoying my time with both projects. And I have to admit that I also checked out Ina Garten's video on this soup just to make sure that I was in the know before we get on this to make it super easy today. So I feel like I'm ready to go and happy to be able to do a split pea soup because I've never actually done a split pea soup. Lots of other vegetarian soups, but never split pea. So excited to learn this one.
Awesome. You all did your homework. I'm so impressed. Okay. And Alexa.
Hey, everybody. I am Alexa, and I am a KindWorks board member, and I am the former coordinator for the Home Setup program. And I'm thrilled that Jean and Kristen and so many others have restarted those setups. That is really fantastic. And Carol, I'm remembering the first event that I ever did with KindWorks was at your house, and it was when we were cooking from Tamimi and Ottolenghi's Jerusalem cookbook. And what a wonderful, wonderful evening that was. So I'm super happy to be here cooking soup with you all. I started just with the Afghan edition, and it has become my Monday evening favorite activity to be with you all. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Alexa. And I remember that magical evening too, when we cooked this was an interfaith, intercultural sort of dinner, and we cooked from Ottolenghi's Jerusalem cookbook. We cooked some of his Palestinian recipes, some of his Israeli recipes, and we just had the most amazing conversations about how we're really all one united group of people who want to make the world better, and yet we all had different cultural backgrounds and belief systems, and it was just a really wonderful night. So something that is the type of activity that KindWorks really promotes. So maybe it's time to do another one of those. I think we should think about that. It was a very inspiring night, and I think round about now we could all use a little inspiration. Okay, is there anybody I skipped? I think I got everybody, but if not, raise your hand either on Zoom or just unmute yourself and shout out. I think I have everybody here, and hopefully by now your onions should be kind of softening, and your garlic. And if you haven't already, go ahead and add the spices, the oregano and the salt and pepper. And, again, in terms of amounts, I mean, I know, I put the amounts on there, but what I tend to do is sort of toss it in and taste it and see how it's doing. And these are things you can always add more of later. So don't worry too much about measuring if you're either rushing or can't figure out where your teaspoon is or whatever. And I'm going to go ahead and add my, so I've got, you can see my, I hope I'm showing, yeah. I just added my carrots to the onion roux here, and I'm stirring. And you can go ahead and do that. And then those will take a while to soften. And yeah, and then go ahead and add your potatoes, and then just half of the peas at this point, and the stock when you're ready. And again, for those of you who are not wanting to make this vegan or vegetarian, feel free to add chicken stock, chicken broth.
A quick question, Carol.
Mm-hmm.
So if I soak the peas in water, should I just drain them and get the water out before I put them in?
That is a very good question. I do. You probably could go either way, because it is, you know, you're going to add water or broth later. But to me, it has all that starchy stuff that comes off when the peas. Like, I don't know, when I soaked my peas, and I soaked them a good long, like hour and 20 minutes, I got these little white thingies that, did you get those? They're like little pieces of white starchy stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to toss those. So yeah, if you want to just drain it. Again, you don't have to be like super, super vigilant about, you know, draining every drop, but yeah, I would pour out the excess.
Carol, I think that those little white things, because I saw them too, I think that's actually like the germ. Like if we were planting these, that's what would.
I was wondering, do you think we should keep them in? I just
no, I don't. I think it's fine either way. I just they're not they're part of it.
Yeah. No, I didn't think I just thought they might have a. I tasted one, honestly, and it just tasted kind of like it didn't have much flavor, and it had a weird texture. So I thought, I don't know if I want it in my soup, but you're right. That makes sense that it would be that part of the plant. Yeah, and this is also one of those soups that I think you can decide later if you want to puree it and make it very smooth, or the recipe that I'm following does not say to do that, but a lot of pea soups are more, you know, sort of green pea rather than split pea thick. In the winter, I especially like having them thick, because, you know, then you feel like you're getting kind of a hearty winter meal. But you could, if you were so inclined, decide to puree the whole thing. So Ina Garten has a really great story. She has been cooking for, I don't know, decades, and she, I think she does not have children, but she has a very, very close relationship with her husband. And she always, when she cooks, she always tells stories about her entertaining with her husband in the Hamptons. And it's, she, you know, she's someone she really loves to entertain, you can tell, and she loves to cook. And the other thing about her recipes that I love is that they're always really easy to follow. You know, I love like Otto Lengi stuff, but oh my gosh, you know, you have to like go buy, you know, unicorn ears and all sorts of things that are very hard to find. And there's a lot of pouring and measuring, and Ina Garten, you can sort of fake your way through, and everything is always very fresh and easy. So.
And usually pretty impressive, I think. I remember like in my 20s, she was my go-to. I had all of her cookbooks, and I just thought like I could host anybody, and I couldn't, but I tried anyway. You know,
I'm sure you did, Deb, and she probably helped.
You know, she really helped.
It's like simple elegance, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, well, speaking of which, I actually made a dessert last night that I found online in a fit of desperation, because I had dinner company who could not have any milk, dairy, or you know, butter, any dairy product for health reasons. And you know, it's hard to find desserts that don't have anything like that. And I was doing an Indian meal, so I was trying to do like an Indian kulfi, which has Cool Whip, and I was like, oh, Cool Whip, that's all like palm oil and fake stuff. But I looked, and sure enough, it's got like condensed milk in it. I'm like, oh darn, what am I going to use? And I found this recipe for avocado ice cream that was so amazing, and it has literally 3 ingredients. It's avocado, and then ground pistachios, and coconut cream, not coconut milk, but you buy it in a can. It's coconut cream, which is like the rich, delicious part of the coconut milk, where you take out the coconut water part. And you just throw it all in the blender, and then to serve it, this is what made me think of this, Deb, when you were talking about how Ina Garten has all these great, you know, elegant service ideas. you scoop out the avocado peel, and then in the half, you have the 2 half peel things, and you scoop when you've done your magic with the avocado and the pistachio and the coconut cream, you scoop it back in to the avocado peel and you stick it in the freezer and you forget about it. You can even do it overnight. So you can do it the day before, and then you pull it out and you get these little cup of avocado parfaits, and they are so good, and they're it would be great for Passover because there's no flour, and it's great for people who can't have dairy. And I'm telling you, it was a hit. It was only 3 ingredients and so easy. So
love that. That's like the people who make banana ice cream just out of like smushing up banana and chocolate.
Smushing up a banana, exactly. Yeah, you could probably do that. It would just be harder to get it back in the peel and serve it in the peel. But
Completely, yeah. It'd end up looking nasty.
Or you could probably do it with a mango too. It might work with mango. Yeah.
A taste question, Carol?
Yes.
When you ate this avocado ice cream, did it taste more like avocado, or did you get a heavy dose of pistachio? And could you feel the texture of the nuts?
I did not feel the texture of the nuts, but I ground them really, really fine. So like espresso beans, in a grinder. And that's a really good question, because I thought it would taste more pistachio, but it actually tasted, you could taste the coconut, the creamy coconut, and you could taste the avocado. And the pistachio, no one guessed. The whole table was like, what's in this? What's in this? And no one guessed pistachio, because you don't taste it, but what it does is it just makes it really rich and really I don't know, flavorful. But it doesn't scream avocado. It doesn't scream pistachio. No one even knew.
Thank you.
And make sure they're raw pistachios, by the way, not like the roasted salted, just the raw ones, like you can get, if that's Co-op or that kind of place. Well, I don't know about you guys, but my potatoes are starting to soften, but it does take a while.
So I may have watched Ina Garten, but I don't remember what I saw 6 hours ago. When I put in the carrots and the potatoes, do I put the liquid in now also?
She says to put it in at the same time. Yeah, I was actually letting them soften a little bit, but you could. The recipe I have here says add the stock of water, so go ahead. I think it's fine. I also thought I would show you guys. I don't know. I use a lot of veggie broth because I make a lot of soups and other, sort of stew-like things with a vegetarian base. And I love either of these 2 veggie broth makers. One is called Better Than Bouillon, and they have a bunch of different flavors. This one is just their seasoned vegetable, but they have one, and I'm not usually like a fake meat person, but they have one that they say is like chicken flavor or something. And it's really good if you're doing like a matzo ball soup and you don't want chicken broth. It has that I can say this because I'm Jewish. It has that Jewish flavor. It tastes like Jewish broth, for Jewish broth for someone who doesn't want chicken broth. And but this one is just the vegetable one. And then this other brand is it's vegan broth base. It's called. And this is also, it says chicken artificially flavor, but it's obviously it's all vegan. And these are really good when you want like that sort of base. It would be good for like an onion soup or a pea soup, or you want that kind of bone flavor or heavier flavor than veggie broth sometimes gives. And then the other thing is they're really cheap and quick. I mean, you just add, if you have an Instant Hot, you can do it with Instant Hot water, but I just take a few teaspoons of this, stick it in a bowl, and add water from the Instant Hot, and then you've got your broth. So I just find buying those, especially, when you're cooking for 20 or something, if you're doing soup like we're doing for a large group of people, to buy those cartons of broth, it's just, you've got so many cartons. So this is a good way to do it.
Sorry if you already answered this question, but why is it that she has the recipe doing half and half? half the peas and then the other half?
Yeah, I think because gets to what I didn't answer it, so it's a perfectly good question. But it does get to the issue of how thick you want it. The ones that are in there longer are going to be more mushy and sort of melt into the soup. And then the ones that you add later will be more like peas. So if you want it to be super, super thick, then add them all at the same time and cook it a little less, and add them later. If you want it to be more, if you want the peas to not be like pieces of pea, but more, sort of green base-like, then you can add them all at once. I think I'm going to just follow what she said to do because I'm sort of curious to see how quickly they cook. But I think, again, either would be fine.
Susan, I have an alternate answer to that. When we made this with Har Shalom, we blended it after the first batch of peas went in. So I'm going to use my immersion blender. I'm not going to blend it all the way down. I'm going to blend it to be, a little chunky. And then when you add the other peas in, then you really have the peas in so that was the way we did it in April.
Yeah, on the video, Ina was saying she likes to have that different consistency with a little bit of the bite with the peas that are added later to give it a little different texture, that blend of the two textures.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
The bite. She kept saying, so you have more of that bite.
Yes, bite to the pea.
But Marge, if you use the immersion blender, even with the potatoes and the carrots and everything, when I've made this in the past, not her recipe, I've tried to make some of it separate so that if I use the immersion blender, I was just blending the peas and the broth and not.
Yeah, I get that. I'm not a big fan of carrots. They're not my favorite. So if they're chopped up, I'm very happy. I don't like to have those little carrot pieces. Like I don't like to have little nut pieces, which was the pistachio question.
Oh, okay. And some people feel that way about peas too. Like they like the flavor of pea soup, but they don't want to bite into little peas. So in that case, you would want to add them all at once so that they mush down. But again, this is one of those recipes that I think will be tasty any number of ways. So actually, I was wondering, I don't know if when I printed this out and when I sent it into KindWorks, if I cut it off, but the version that I have does not say to blend it at all. Did I just cut that off?
No, I think Marge was just saying how she likes to do it, not that.
Oh, all right. So all of you got the same recipe I did, which just says to cook it and then adjust the salt and pepper, right?
Yes. Carol, Salma's asking how many cups is 3 pounds of split peas? I assumed that that the pounds were 16 ounces, so I
did too.
Okay.
Every pound is 2 cups, according to what I Googled and learned from Ina and.
Okay, Salma, 2 cups per pound, so 6 cups.
Oh, 2 cups per pound?
That's what Cheryl just said.
Okay.
Yeah. I measured them as I poured them in because I had some left over from the Bethesda Co-op, so they were just in a bag. And I wanted to make sure, I didn't know if I had a full pound, I knew that. So I measured my Goya bag and sure enough, it was 2 cups.
So how many Goya bags did you use for this? 2?
2 of those and a bunch of peas from the Co-op.
Okay, because I was using 3 Goya bags. So that's probably about the same.
And I'm still mad at Goya, but that's another story.
Oh, I know. My sister was very upset I was buying Goya, but I was like, sorry, I couldn't find any others. I know. I try not to think of that smiling face on Times Square.
Yeah, I went with the Harris Teeter House brand for the split piece.
Good for you.
For that reason.
Another thing on the amounts is a lot depends on what size pot you have or pots if you're using multiple, because you know the way that it'll cook will in part depend on how big your pot is. So.
I'm actually doing 2 pots, so I'm thinking I'm going to immersion blend some in one pot and leave the other one and
There
try
you
both
go.
options.
A comparison, a taste test. I love
Yes,
it.
exactly. A/B testing of the soups.
There you go. Great idea.
I've been using this humongous pot that my father and his partner gifted to me over the summer, and I've cooked all of them, all of the soups for the Afghan edition in this pot, and it's a really, really big one compared to my normal stock pot. And this is the first soup that is like almost up to the brim, and that's with all 24 cups of stock and all 3 pounds of beans. So it'll be interesting to see how, I think it's going to get delicious and thick.
Oh, I love it. Well, when I started doing KindSoups, actually, I bought myself this Lodge pot, which is the poor man's version of cow flan. You know that I mean, if I were you know doing a wedding registry, I would put cow flan on. But these are not horrifically expensive, and they're such nice pots. And this is their largest. It's their extra large size, and I love it. It's great for I can easily get 7 or 8 tubs of the kind tubs from this pot, and so it's really nice. And now it turns out, even if I use it even when cooking for like 8 people at home, it's nice to have a really big pot. So. But the two different versions and taste testing is a great idea. Well, when I was growing up, my mom always made a split pea soup with ham. And I really had like fond memories of it. It was one of my mom's favorite recipes. And then when I became vegetarian, I had to find a way to still enjoy pea soup without the ham. So I think that was another thing that drew me to this recipe.
I always thought that split pea soup was made with Hebrew National hot dogs in it.
Right. Well,
I've heard good things about the Beyond sausage, that it works pretty well as a substitute. So maybe you can try that, sticking some of that in.
Oh, yeah. I am not a huge fan of the pretend meats. I don't know why. I guess I've gotten, and the same thing with like the Impossible Burger and all that. I love a great veggie burger with beets and black beans and mushrooms and anything you can think of that's plant-based, but the idea of eating something that's supposed to taste like a hamburger is now like not appealing to me. I think I've just been doing this too long. But yeah, I think if you kind of miss the meat, then that's a great idea. Those sausage beyond what are they? Beyond sausage, I guess it's called. Salma, I think I missed you in the beginning. We were doing introductions. Do you want to come on and introduce?
Hi.
Hi, Salma. Oops, there you are.
Yes. How's everybody? Introduce us or KindSoup, I'm sure.
Oh. Well, we just sort of went around and said who we were, in part because it gave all this sauteing some nice time. So
right.
Say who you are and why you're part of KindWorks.
I'm Salma, and I am the Chief Inspiration Officer of KindWorks, and have been with the organization since the very beginning. We started about 14 years ago, and initially we were called Mover Moms. And so just it's been such a pleasure to see this group grow and now to make soup together.
Absolutely. Salma was one of the originals. So, well, I'm curious. Mine is I don't know if there, if you're seeing it, is very, the colors have gotten like more vibrant from the cooking. Like the carrots are really orange and the peas are really green.
While we have a little downtime as things are boiling away, I did a Zoom training last week with the Montgomery County Food Council on food safety. And I need to go back and look at my notes, but one of the takeaways that I had, one of the simple takeaways was the danger zone is between, when you leave something out and it's between 40 degrees and 140 degrees for more than 4 hours. So we should do our best to package things up and get it down below 40 degrees in less than 4 hours, and when we're trying to freeze it. And so just keep that in mind. I was trying to, I have this digital meat thermometer. I'm going to give it a shot to stick into my soup later, and just, you know, try and see what temperatures things are at. Anyway, I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts on that, but I just thought it'd be good for us to just have some basic, you know, parameters of what we should be doing.
Oh, thanks for sharing that. My practice usually when I do this is that as soon as it's not hot, I put it in the fridge. I do, you know, I don't want to put it in the plastic tubs because when it's hot, I don't want it to take on the plastic stuff. But as soon as it's like, you know, sort of lukewarm, I put it in the tubs, and then you know, maybe I keep it out for another few minutes or so, and then I just stick it right in the fridge or in the freezer if honestly, I freeze it more than anything else. So.
It's just kind of hard because you don't want your freezer heating up with 10 of these in your freezer, then everything else in your freezer will heat up. So you have to sort of, you know.
Yeah, I think if it's lukewarm, I mean, if it's hot, you're right. But if it's lukewarm, that should, at least it hasn't happened. Hasn't melted my ice cream yet.
The other thing I was going to let everyone know is someone reached out to me today who has been saving takeout containers for the last few months and has a few big bags full of cleaned reusable takeout containers, and she has offered if anybody would like to be using them for this or kind casseroles or any of our other cooking projects. For our welcome dinners, we try and put it in beautiful casserole dishes that the families can then reuse. But to the extent we can have clean, reusable plastic, and rather than buying lots of fresh plastic, just letting you know.
I have been getting those containers from someone who gets, it's called Mighty Meals. Mighty Meals has been donating those to us, and I've been using them. They are not, most of them are not a full quart. Some of them are, but not all of them. So I use them when I make those squash casseroles I've been making. I've been putting those into them. And if they're a little shy of a quart, it's not the end of the world, right? But yeah, we've been using those. And for those of you who don't know this, it's very exciting. Both Kensington and Gaithersburg Costco have restocked on those rectangular containers we were using earlier. They're actually seem to be a higher quality than the Snap Pack for roughly the same price. I think 25, 50 pieces, 25 completed containers for, I think it's about $8. And I will tell you that I was in Kensington this week, or Wheaton, whatever it is, and they were low. They were low on stock. So if you want them, go now. In fact, maybe go to Gaithersburg because Kensington didn't look too good. But yeah, so I have about 5 or 6 packages of them now in my house because they really are. They're easier to store in the freezer than the deli container.
One thing I want to draw people's attention to, my version of the recipe says skim off foam while cooking. And sure enough, I am starting to get, here I can show you guys, foam at the top of my soup, you see. So I'm gonna start to skim that off because, that's what Ina said to do. So I'm gonna follow her, but If you
And-
see that, you might-
Carol, something that I noticed was that my onions were chopped small enough that I was skimming off some of them and some of my oregano. So I might kind of add more of that in because I'm getting the foam too, but it's got the herbs in it as well.
Yeah. Oh, right. No, that's true with the oregano. I'll probably have to add more. My onions are a little bigger, but yeah, and it may need more salt and pepper too. And periodically check the bottom just to make sure that it's not sticky.
Mine is at the top of my 8-quart pot. And this is before putting in the next pound of peas. So I'm not quite sure. I guess I'm gonna have to do some ladling.
Yeah, or use a separate pot. I mean, my
Yeah,
pot
get to another pot at some point.
super full, as you can see. And that, I don't know what the size of this is. I can't remember, but it's gargantuan. So, and it's completely full. When you add all the peas, it really does get full.
You know, Cheryl, if you blend it down, it will take up less space in the pot.
That is true.
So you might want to blend some of it. It's an option. I will tell you that, thank God my daughter got married. I think it's been 5 or 6 years now, but she asked for certain items that I just never owned. So I have, as you see, this huge, I don't know if you see this huge lobster pot. It's sitting out there. It's sitting up on the stove next to my normal soup pot, which is where I was draining the peas. So if not for this lobster pot that belongs to my daughter, and which she never used because she doesn't cook, I wouldn't be able to make soups, some of the soups. In the beginning, I started out using 2 soup pots. And if not for my daughter, I wouldn't be able to make the squash breads because my mix master died. And she has a beautiful red one, KitchenAid red one that I use for the squash bread. So I'm so glad she got married. Not for the reasons most people think.
That's hysterical.
I've got a better one for you. Today I get a note from her about rescheduling Thanksgiving. Apparently her husband, who runs Nats Chat, which is the Nats baseball blog that goes on after every game or whatever, and a couple of times during the winter. Anyway, so he does a lot of electronic stuff with production work. And he got a call, they need him, the University of Maryland needs him in the Bahamas, twist my arm, needs him in the Bahamas for Thanksgiving because the men's and women's University of Maryland basketball teams are playing in some tournament that goes on, I guess, every year for Thanksgiving. And so they decided they were going to go. So we can't have Thanksgiving on Thursday. I think we're going to have it on the Sunday before. But that's a good excuse to me.
Yeah, it sounds like a very good excuse. I agree.
Yeah, I wonder if they need anyone to carry their luggage. I could volunteer.
Yeah, I don't understand why you don't just do Thanksgiving all together down there.
I think that's an excellent idea. I'll speak to my husband about it.
So Cheryl reminded me when she was talking about the food containers about our welcome dinners. And Lisa just yesterday made some gorgeous eggplants. Lisa, are you in the position where I can put a pin on you? And can you explain about the welcome dinners? And I can show the picture of what you made and then what Megan made?
Sure.
All right. I'm going to take
was-
Carol off so we can see you. And then I will show the pictures while you're telling about that project, because it was a gorgeous result. Yeah, go ahead.
No, it was, for me, quite an adventure. I said the yes and began making or buying the items. I had sort of a tutorial, get accustomed to the Kind cooking group session. Hadn't done it alone, and because I was so focused on dessert on Tuesday evening with the other ladies, I sort of singed it. I'll admit, thank God I didn't get dessert again. Anyway, I said yes to the eggplant. I had tasted it, but hadn't participated in making it. So went out and bought the ingredients, and I have to say that recipe is 5 stars across the board. Deb knows me. I followed the recipe to the T. It did take me quite a bit of time because when you're the singleton in the kitchen and you're doing the chopping and the salting and the sweating and the rinsing and the drying and the cooking, but it was well worth it. The food, it was absolutely fantastic. So I love to cook, and then after I cook, I love to take a picture of it, make it look as pretty as possible, and pull together different accessories from my house that I have tucked away. In the photo, you'll see 2 eggplants, a salt and pepper shaker. One of my son's best friend was a Brandon Shapiro. They were friends since kindergarten, and his mother, Lucy, gifted me some items when she was cleaning out her mother's house. And those items, in that package of items, different salt and pepper shakers for the eggplant. So yesterday, as I was putting my display together, I remembered the eggplant salt and pepper shakers and put them down. The tablecloth underneath it is from a friend who served a couple of tours in Africa for the State Department. The little serving utensil is from my niece in Sarasota. So I try to pull together things to make it look pretty and as a memory for me too of what I've done.
It is gorgeous. You all can see these pictures, right? And then, so Lisa made the eggplant dish and 2 other people made all the rest of the meal. And they didn't have room on their table to make it as color coordinated and memory filled as Lisa. But look at that food. So together, the 3 of them cooked for 3 families who are arriving today from, originally from Afghanistan and into their new homes today. So look at the quality of this delicious food in gorgeous dishes that they are going to open up and see in their refrigerators.
That is so beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous. Lisa, I really think you have a future in design.
Back off, Carol. I've already tapped her. No, she's all ours. Back off, Carol.
This is like so artistic. This is
I know.
quality. Tuesday morning when I'm getting my soups ready to deliver, and I'm like, okay, I need color, I need this, I need that, and it all comes together.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is a gift, Lisa. That is that. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that's
So
another
this
one
is
that I
Lisa.
set up with flowers from the garden.
That Lisa did that, and it appeared in the monthly or bi-monthly, whatever this is, Harshalom tablet, because they asked for a picture of soup. And what kind of pictures do I have of soup? You know, when the back of my car is packed with all these bags and boxes, and you can't tell that there's soup in there. And Lisa took these amazing pictures. So I sent one to them, and it showed up. I did not know it was going to show up. It showed up in this month's tablet. So yes, you're famous.
Well, thank you.
But your name is not there, so it's safe. I want to go back. Someone asked for the sharing of the eggplant recipe in the chat, and that would be a wonderful thing because I grew this. I know you find it hard to believe, but this is an eggplant from my garden. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. I was surprised. First eggplant I've ever grown, and it really is starting to go bad because I just haven't had time to cook it.
Marge, it's an excellent recipe. It's I don't know who has the master of the file with the kind with the Deb does. So it's fantastic. I think you'll like it, Marge.
Okay, Deb, can you send it to me and I'll just make a reduced version or augment my little eggplant?
Yeah.
I had more eggplants growing, but it froze last week. It's very sad.
And I've shared the photos of cooking, and I talked about the apartment setup with friends, and I am happy to say perhaps that a friend came over last night and said, oh, here's a nice serving bowl for KindWorks, and here are 2 frying pans I didn't really use, and here's a bigger pot, and here's a glass pitcher. So anyway.
That's terrific. So Marge, and everybody, the Borani Banjan is the recipe we used is from one of the Afghan chefs who led us our very last cooking KindSoup's Afghan style or Afghan edition, Humaira Gilzai. And this is her recipe. It's now in the chat. Feel free to use it. And also feel free to think about if you guys are up to what Lisa did this weekend. Grab another 2 people or 3 people and make a dinner for arriving family. We try to make enough for our own family, just like we do with the soups, make a little extra so we can try it, and then also plate it up for a family who's arriving. So that's a fun thing to do. Let me know if you're interested in that.
Just a note about the Afghan, the blogger Humaira. When I went onto her website, the recipe she now has for eggplant, the dish, is different than the one we use. So that's just a note. So
I don't know about you all, but my kitchen is smelling really nice right now with those peas.
I added in my second batch of peas about 20 minutes ago. My husband was impatient to eat, and he has said it's perfect the way it is right now. So I'm going to say mine is done, and he's already had his dinner.
oh wow.
Well, I added in mine, I don't know, maybe 12 minutes ago, and they're soft, but I think it still needs a little more time. But again, this is, it's very discretionary. Anything goes, as they say. And you may, after you add the second bout of peas, especially if you've been skimming foam, you may want to check the seasonings again, the oregano and the salt and pepper. It's another nice thing about this recipe. Sometimes you've got like 12 spices you're adding. She's very low key on spicing, which is kind of, it's nice. Mainly because you don't have to worry if you didn't quite have enough coriander or whatever. She's usually, the spices are all very simple.
Who else was it that did the taste test? Because I just ground up some and left some not. I really like the half ground.
The half, yeah, like half calf, right?
Yeah, I do. I like the half ground. I can't remember who else was going to do the taste test, but I'm curious to hear. Susan, what do you think?
I haven't done it. I haven't ground it yet.
Oh, okay.
I think mine's just getting to that stage. So I was literally about stepping away to get my
All right.
blender.
Sorry to stop you. Go for it, girl.
No, I think I'm going to prefer it ground because I do that with my lentil soups as well, where I'll grind some of it so that it really makes it creamier and thicker.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that's going to be my fave, but we'll find out.
Right.
Did you grind it while it was still hot, Deb?
Oh yeah, I use the immersion blender. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do that too, but I'm always like splattering, so especially when there's so much in the pot.
Yeah.
and you may find you need to add more liquid, which is fine. Just if you don't have any more broth, add water, or you know, you can add more broth as it. But the liquid does evaporate as you cook more. So.
All right, Marge and Carol, we're coming to the end. Marge is someone who's already hosted this one, and Carol is hosting today. Any last words of wisdom before you let us all finish this up on our own?
Enjoy.
Thank you so much. Marge, do you need to know anything? No?
You know everything. If you do need me to take your soup and you're showing up tomorrow, please show up no later than 9:45. Okay?
Okay, Marge.
Okay, otherwise later in the week and it'll go next week. Okay, bye.
Thanks.
Everybody, thank you so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
wonderful
Bye,
week.
Carol. Good night, all.
Thanks, Carol.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
It was fun. Bye-bye.